Welcome everybody to the June 23rd, 2020, 6:15 p.m. open session meeting of the Ayer Planning Board. I'm looking at the screen. Yes, we have a quorum. Good evening, all. How are you?
Good evening.
Thanks.
Welcome everybody. First order of business after calling to order is general business to approve the agenda. May I have a motion, please?
I make a motion to approve the agenda for the June 23rd, 2020 open session meeting of the Ayer Planning Board.
Thank you. May I have a second, please?
Second.
Any discussion on the agenda? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Fantastic. So we're off and running. Next is general business. We have a placekeeper on our agenda for a covenant or bond release. It's my understanding we have no covenants or bond releases to take care of this evening. So we'll jump right into the public hearing. Special permits for 3-5 Park Street. And it looks to me like we've got a bunch of folks here for that issue. Am I correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, great. Mark, you want to kick us off, please?
Yes. The gardeners have submitted a special permit application in anticipation of a forthcoming site plan for the construction of a 4-story mixed-use building at 3-5 Park Street with possibly up to 17 apartments in it. The applicant is seeking modifications and waivers from the off-street parking requirements of section 9.12A2 of the Ayer zoning bylaw under special permit pursuant to Ayer zoning bylaw sections 914B, 915C5, 919B, and 9110, A, B, and C, which are the modification and waiver provisions. For tonight's meeting, I recommend, after we hear from the applicant, if the board is willing, that the board accept the special permit application for consideration to open the public hearing. And also, I was in touch with town council regarding the use of section 9110 to waive certain standards of the parking requirements. And that also includes reserved parking. So I do have a few recommended findings. If the board is considering acting on the plan this evening, I do have some findings related to that the planning board should make before acting on the plan. However, we do have a busy agenda tonight, so I'm not sure, how rapidly we'll get through everything. But also, for your consideration, is the gardeners have, in addition to their application, have submitted a agreement for purchase and sale regarding off-street parking, which would be provided at the Woodlandale parking lot across the street. So that could also be something that the planning board may want to discuss with the applicants. So in my opinion, the special permit application is ready for acceptance and to open the public hearing.
Okay,
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Mr. Krantz.
I don't believe it's appropriate for us to bring up this special permit at this time. And I'd like to talk about why.
Please do.
First, I'd like to cite the Ayer Site Plan Regulations, Section 5, subsection M. And I'll quote, "Combined special permit and site plan review. For any use required..." Hello? Did I lose?
No.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. For any use requiring a special permit from the planning board, the special permit and site plan applications shall be combined as a single submission. The procedures for a special permit with site plan review from the planning board shall be the same as any other special permit and shall conform to the requirements of General Law, Chapter 40A, subsection 9 as amended, and Section 3.4 of the Ayer zoning bylaw. We don't have a submitted site plan. So one, there's this legal issue, whether it's appropriate to have this legally. And then secondly, as a matter of common sense, I don't know how we can rationally approach a special permit to an application when we don't have the application itself.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I would like to mildly disagree with Mr. Krantz. I believe that we can hold a special permit separately from the site plan. The bylaw does mention, as he just mentioned, that, you can do it concurrently, though I don't think it's an absolute requirement. And part of the reason for doing this is if a special permit to allow a reduction in parking and also off-street parking is not granted, that could have a significant effect on how the site plan is produced. So that is the reason the gardeners are going for the special permits first, because the special permit decision will have a direct bearing on how the site plan is produced.
Mr. Chair?
Yes,
Can I-
please.
Okay, yep.
I cede the floor to Julie.
I just am not following the logic, Mark, on how we are, if we flip that conversation, how do we make a decision on a special permit without knowing what the actual plan is? And I'm newer to the board, so maybe I'm just not understanding, but could you help me?
Well, we do know that we do have the basics of the plan. Under the form-based code, they would like to construct a 4-story building, which is the maximum in the T6 transit-oriented area. And they have indicated that they are seeking 17 apartments within that 4-story building. So we do have the basic parameters that would set the tone or set the scale of the site plan.
Are they held to those parameters if there's no actual
Right.
site plan we're ruling on?
I believe so. You can ask the gardeners, that question. But yeah, I believe
We ask the applicant if they're held to it. I think we have to ask, is it counsel that we need in order to know what is
Well, Mr.
proper?
Chairman, can I say something, please?
Please do, Mr. Gardner.
All right, we came in, this Bob Gardner, just for the record, we came in to the planning board informally and discussed this whole situation. And candidly, we're not trying to do an end run on anybody. I mean, this is the first I've heard of that. It was my understanding we could file the application for the special permit separately. Tom, my son, with his architectural background, you might recall, I was very proud. I am very proud of him getting out of Northeastern recently with his master's. And with my legal background, we kind of felt we could handle the whole situation rather than have to engage an engineer to go through, much of the design and water quality and things of that nature. Not so much water quality, but runoffs and things of that nature. I mean, candidly, nobody's ever said anything to us in the past about this, and what we're trying to do is, frankly, if we can't get the relief on the parking, then it probably really doesn't make any sense to come back and see you all, with the plan. But I mean, the plan, I don't envision changing really at all. I mean, it's the lot is pretty small, in that T6 area. There's only about 60 feet of frontage, and there's really not any room on there for parking on the site. So, we've gone through a lot of work and effort and time. Not that that's anybody's fault, and I'm not faulting anybody, but, Mr. Berry's here too at my request, and obviously he's an interested party and the legal abutter. We've entered into the 25-year lease.
Mm-hmm.
I don't foresee any change in the plan coming in for the building. It would be 4 stories. We would have the commercial in the downstairs front of it, and without really knowing much about the engineering per se, we would want to have the plan the very same.
Can I say something then?
Sure.
We
It's
submitted,
not me. It's okay with the chairman.
so we submitted.
Please, Tom, please do. Thank you.
So we submitted a square footage with our application that's based off of, we haven't had it surveyed yet, but it's based off of the square footage that we got from the assessor's map. So we built to our maximum percentage of the lot based off of that square footage. So I would argue that we would be held to that square footage based off like a percentage, how it would potentially change once it's been surveyed. But I feel like it would be a waste of time for us to come in with a whole presentation on a site plan that would potentially just be immediately rejected based off previous special permit application being rejected. So I think in the interest of time, we could separate them and do them in 2 separate meetings. So it would save everyone some hassle.
And, well, if I,
Excuse me, Bob. Thanks. Sorry. I appreciate it. And Jonathan, I do see your point. I also have had a chance finally today to read through the letter that came in from one of the abutters up the street, Attorney Gibbons' office also. I also question moving forward on this, but I actually question it for a different reason. And one of the things that has bitten us in the past, and I've discussed this with at least one of the other board members, is that we have acted upon requests before the board made by people who do not control the property.
Well, I'd like to address that, if I may.
Excuse me, Mr. Barry? In one moment, please, okay? The property in question that I'm talking about is 3-5 Park Street. The applicant, the applicant, I believe, for the special permit are the Gardners, am I correct?
That is correct.
Currently, who is the legal owner of the property, please?
I own both.
I'm sorry? You own both, Mr. Barry, yes. So this is the crux I'm up against. When we went, and this is, I think, as recent as Ayer Solar 1 and also Ayer Solar 2, we worked as a board very diligently. And no one asked a simple question of, do you actually control the land? So I have a second that's a second concern that I have right now I want to put on the table also. And Mr. Barry, please take a moment.
Sure. So one of the things that, and I actually want to commend the whole board for the form-based code. I thought that was very smart, and I thought that was very progressive for the development of the town. Unfortunately, one of the things that the board did not address was deeded parking. And this is the challenge that as a landowner and a potential developer that I'm facing, as well as the Gardners are facing.
Mm-hmm.
What we're trying to do is we're not trying to put the cart before the horse. We're trying to show you that in order for me to sell the property to Mr. Gardner wants to be able to make sure that he can build something on the land. Mm-hmm. That is why we have come to the table with saying we want to do both. We want to build a building, and here are the parking spots to support that growth. Mm-hmm. So that's merely all we're trying to say, and obviously comply with all the massive federal rules necessary, with the exception of asking for a special permit where we can address the parking. There are no shenanigans in this. And
no, I appreciate that, and I don't.
If we've misstepped or gone out of order, I apologize. Yep. But we're really trying to seek a resolution so that Mr. Gardner and his son can go forward. Mm-hmm. And I think it is a great idea personally, and I think it's good for the town. Mm-hmm. So any help that the board can give us to make this happen, I would be most appreciative. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, if I could just say,
I heard 3 Mr. Chairmans at the same time, excuse me. Mr. Diskin, if I may.
I'd like to fall back on Mr. Archambault and the professionals at Town Hall or the Town Council. If everyone feels that this application in Mr. Archambault's office was legitimately coming forward right now with a special permit first, then I'm going to agree with that and say that, we should step up and review it accordingly. And basically, there's no question about it that there's a problem with the parking. We know it's on the residential side only, not the commercial side. It's an odd twist that we have no requirement for commercial parking downtown, yet we have a requirement for residential. So betwixt and between is an issue. And this being the first building, we're obviously challenged by the effort we have to put in to figure this out on the first building. Mm-hmm. So I'd agree that I think we should open the hearing. I think we should read the advertisement, as I think we're required to do, mm-hmm. and open the hearing and go from there and take it as a board one step at a time and listen to the applicant, listen to Mr. Berry, and give our own opinions accordingly and ask questions, and let's see if we can resolve it.
Thank you, Mr. Diskin. I apologize that we jumped in right away. And I don't think we actually opened the hearing, did we?
Nope.
Mark? Yep. Mr.
No, we
Krantz?
have not yet. Just one observation to make is that my understanding is that the only permissible way to offer a special permit or a waiver is if the board determines that it's in the public interest. But as a board member, I cannot determine whether the special permit is generally in the public's interest until I have before me the formally accepted site plan. Without that, it's impossible to me to make an informed decision.
Thank
I'll
you.
let everyone else take their turn. Thank you.
I'm actually going to ask you to open the hearing, please. Sorry to about stumble on that. Do you have the
Open the hearing. Is there a
do we-
formal thing for me to read?
Yes,
Jeff?
the advertisement.
I'm not sure you have
I
a
never-
copy of it, Jonathan.
I don't have a copy of it. I never saw that.
Okay.
I have a dozen other documents, but I do not have that one.
I have it.
Do you mind, Ken, please, would you read it?
Am I
Thank
still
you,
on the
Ken.
camera? Because I went to another page. But either way.
Yes, you're on the camera.
We
Okay.
see you.
Planning Board, Town of Ayer, 1 Main Street, Air Mass. 01432. Planning Board special permit for 35 Park Street as advertised. The Town of Ayer Planning Board will hold a public hearing at 6:15 p.m. on Tuesday, June 23rd, 2020, in the first floor meeting room of Town Hall, 1 Main Street, Air Mass. 01432. Regarding the application of Robert W. Gardner Jr. and Thomas H. Gardner for property located at 3 to 5 Park Street. The applicant is seeking modifications and waivers from the off-street parking requirements of section 9.1.2, A2 of the Air zoning bylaw under special permit pursuant to the Air zoning bylaw section 9.1.1C. Applicability. Sections 9.15C, 5, 9.1.9B, and 9.1.10A, B, and C.
Let's see. Mhm.
Modifications and waivers in parking management plan. Application and plans can be mailed or emailed by contacting the planning office at 978-772-8218 or hampson@air.ma.us. Any person interested or wishing to be heard on the proposed plan is advised to call or email the planning board office by June 18th, 2020, or are free to call into the meeting that will be live streamed on Air Public Access TV. There will be a phone number provided on the screen during the meeting. Signed, the Air Planning Board, received June 17th, 2020, Town of Air, Town Clerk.
Thank you. Sorry that we jumped into it. I guess people were pretty excited to get on top of this topic. We also have to apologize. We ran long last time, so we have to do my best to get us off by, is it 7:30, Mark? When is our deadline, please?
Cindy indicated that we should try to keep the meeting to an hour and a half tops, so that would be
7:45.
Yeah, 7:45.
Okay, great. We'll do our best. I apologize to Cindy. Sorry. I'm sorry, Cindy, that we went as long as we did last time, and I will make amends to Carly also. Thank you for reading that, Mr. Diskin. So we now have an open, Mark, am I correct in saying that we have an open, we've opened it, the review?
Well, I think there should be a motion to open the public
Please.
hearing.
Public hearing. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you. A second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Nathan. It's been moved and seconded to open the hearing. Any discussion on opening the hearing? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
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 I saw you say aye, Julie. Mute, unmute. So, obviously, we've got
Wait.
some.
There's another vote possibility besides aye.
I'm sorry. I apologize, Jonathan.
That's okay.
Opposed?
Nay.
Abstentions?
Well, wait, actually, then I have a question.
Please do.
If we couldn't do the prior discussion and I can't get I'm still looking to find out whether we need counsel or firm answer on what.
I think if I may,
Yes.
Jonathan is voting against opening the hearing.
But what,
Not against the topic of the hearing, but the actual hearing itself.
okay, Mr. Chair, may I ask?
Yes.
So in voting yes, I'm opening the hearing.
Yes.
We can still further whether we can rule on a special permit without a site plan review.
We're going to discuss that now.
but we can discuss that once we open the hearing, even if we find it is not a valid process. I just have more to learn, but I'm just voting
Yes.
open.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
We ended up out of sequence at the beginning, and I apologize. We needed to open the hearing by reading the advertisement. Mr. Diskin caught us at that. And so now we are, the conversation that happened beforehand
Yes.
is, I'm not going to make us do it again,
Okay.
Right.
okay?
Right.
But we are somewhere down the road, if you will. The barn door's open and the horse is gone, but we can still see the horse. So now that we have actually opened the hearing, we have a couple of issues on the table. And are there other questions from the board about this?
You asking for questions regarding opening the hearing on?
No, questions regarding the application of a special permit by the applicant.
Quick question, Chair.
Yes, please.
And that's, how long do we have to decide on this special permit? What's the timeline?
I can answer that, Mr. Chair. 90 days,
Yeah.
3 months.
90 days? Okay.
Yes. So, if I may, I started to broach the topic of legal ownership of the property and the applicant being the person who is actually in control of the property. That's one of my concerns. The other concern I have is in reading the signed, and I thank you very much for providing a copy of the signed agreement. I don't know what I've done with the most recent copy of it. However, to Julie's point in the beginning, how many units are going to be in the building? And Mark described it as up to 17 units with first 17 residential units. The agreement between the parties has the numbers 1 to 18 parking spaces. How's that determined?
Can I answer this?
Yes, please.
Mr. Chairman, may I make a little statement on that?
Yeah, either of the gardeners,
Go
please.
for it, Dad.
All right, I'll go forward. First of all, to answer one of the questions relative to control, Worthingdale Realty Corp., which is David Berry, and Robert W. Gardner Jr. entered into a purchase and sale agreement on January 29, 2020. That we've extended the closing date for a few times. Obviously, COVID and everything else has been involved. Ron Morrison, the real estate broker, is present. I mean, you know, I put in a substantial amount of money as a deposit into Mr. Morrison's escrow account. I mean, we do control the property as far as we've got a binding purchase and sale agreement. And the latest amendment was just signed yesterday relative to the parking. How we came up with the 18 spots was one each based upon the recent town meeting vote, you know, 1 parking spot per unit, and then the visitor unit would be the 18th. So, and we're prepared to discuss that whole situation. And
Yes.
that's-
Wait, let me come in.
Go ahead, Tom.
So the reason that it's 1 to 18, I think in the special permit we laid it out a little bit more clearly. We wanted to give our tenants the option of owning a car or having the cost savings associated with not owning a car. So we wanted to put that on our tenants. So we have agreed with Mr. Berry to have the possibility of reserving 18 parking spaces so that at any time, if a tenant wants it, they will be able to use the space. But we're not putting that cost on the tenant if they don't want the space. So if the tenant doesn't own a car and they're not looking to park in Mr. Berry's lot, that spot will be reserved, but it won't be paid for. So that's where the 1 to 18 comes in. So we're paying for the spots as the tenants need them, but we have the right to get up to 18 at any point.
So if I understand that correctly, and this is, I believe this was my understanding as I read the agreement, and I did, of course, I did the quick math if the price don't change, but it's what the commitment is over 25 years. 18 spaces times $45 a month times 12 months times 25 years adds up to a fair amount of money. However, I then look at it and say, you use the word tenant, so you will be renting these apartments. They won't be condominiums at this point.
Yeah.
Okay. So year 1, you rent, 10 people want spaces. Year 2, the same people stay, 10 people want spaces. Year 3, a couple of people move in, a couple of people move out. You need 15 spaces. Mr. Berry's going to hold 5 extra spaces for you.
Yeah.
Where's the guarantee?
Yeah, he's required to hold 18 according to that lease. So up to 18, that could be 2 tenants or 1 tenant that wants to own 2 cars.
I appreciate that. I got thinking about the actual mechanics of it. And then the other question is, what's survivability? What happens to the agreement between Worthingdale and 35 Park Street should either property sell?
Well, that's why it's going to be recorded and run with the property. And whoever owns 35 Park Street, I mean, I won't be around in 25 years, obviously. My son will probably own it, but, you know, that the benefit of that agreement would run with the property. If Mr. Berry sells Worthingdale Realty Corporation, it would run with the property, and then the new owner over there would have the obligation to honor that agreement.
And I believe that there's an aspect of in the section that applies to this, where if there's any change, we have something like 60 days to come up with an alternative solution and notify the planning board. So that would be what we would do in that case. We'd find a different place.
And he also has, Mr. Berry also has the right every 2 years to essentially increase the rent based on taxes, based on snow plowing costs and things of that nature.
Yeah,
But,
I saw there was no expected escalation or limit to it, but that's not the planning board. That's not the planning board's purview. So, yeah.
Well, Mr. Berry's been a gentleman throughout this, and you know, I knew his father. I grew up with his father and my grandfather, and the longtime family in town. I respect them and I trust them. But you know, we're not trying to pull a shenanigan relative to control. We do have control. We got a binding, valid, legal purchase and sale agreement, and you know, we want to go forward. I mean,
Thank you.
Go back to the whole situation about having to come in with a site plan. You know, we'd have to spend thousands, tens of thousands of dollars on this whole application, and you know, if it doesn't go through, then what do we do?
Yep. No, I appreciate
But
that.
that's what development is all about. I mean, that's what development is.
Well,
I mean, you know, it's like
Excuse me.
you have a garden, you expect it to rain. I mean, that's development.
well,
I would like to
the planning board could have said something. When it came
Excuse me. I'm going to ask for order, please.
All right, sorry, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, may I address Mr. Krantz?
Yeah, actually, this is going to be a strange request. Hold on a second. There's an alarm going off in the house.
Did you turn it off?
I'm in a meeting.
All right, sorry.
Sorry, guys. Kitchen alarm's going off behind me, and she's out in the garden. Are we back? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So I appreciate, Jonathan, your passion about this. Okay? And I appreciate the Gardners and Mr. Berry that you do believe that you are entering into an agreement. This is somewhat uncharted water for us. This is our first project. I mean, every single first thing we've done, Mr. Berry, excuse me, I see your hand up. Thank you. Every first project we've done in each one of our new zoning bylaws or guidelines has brought us to a very interesting point right away. We have precedent for control. That's why I brought the topic up. In my eyes, it is a risk that's being taken on by the Gardners and Mr. Berry. I do feel, as Mr. Diskin does, that if our planner and our attorney are comfortable with the situation as it's being offered, that we can indeed move forward. I also see Mr. Krantz's point and Ms. Murray's point about no site plan. It's difficult for them to move forward also. And I think, did I just lay everything on the table where we stand? Did I miss anything? Thank you. Mr. Berry, you wanted to speak.
Yes, I'd like to address Jonathan and Julie if I could. Yes, we know it rains, and it rains often in various different ways for businesses. But I don't want to rain on the town of Ayer. I want Ayer to flourish. And, you know, I wouldn't have spent the time to attend this meeting if I thought anything else. You have taken a lot of time, Jonathan, Julie, and the rest of the board, in trying to do better in the town of Ayer. And we are supporting you. Here, the gardeners are taking monies and trying to build something better than what is there. You know, I personally applaud that. I have some projects that I too want to address on the Main Street to address the town going forward, to embrace the train, to embrace having professionals in our town, to try and revitalize the Main Street. We need these things. We need these things from a tax base, for convenience, and for a better quality of life. I give the floor to Julie.
Thank you, Mr. Gardner. Mr. Chair, I'm a little confused. I am not suspect of the Gardners. I know Mr. Gardner myself, and Mr. Berry, thank you. We don't have any suspect or questions for any of you in personally what you're trying to do. I just know I've attended many trainings where I'm legally held to do this accurately and do what's by the law required of me, and I can also get sued for not applying that. And I need to just have an understanding of, is it a requirement or is it not? Can you actually legally do a special permit prior to a site plan? It's just a legal question, not a personal interest. I'm not suspect of any of you. I'm just trying to understand what I am legally held to do.
Mark, do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, Mr. Chair. When I spoke to town council, she's well aware of the process, though I did not, I have to admit, I did not specifically pointedly ask that the special permit would be distinct in time from the site plan. Though I did review the Mass General laws that have to do with special permits and site plans, and it's my professional opinion that the board is empowered to do so. However, since we have quite a bit of time, I could contact town council with the direct question about the legality of doing a special permit prior to and distinct from the site plan, and have that answer for the board prior to the next meeting. And as I say, I think, if town council found that it was not proper to do so, then the board could, not act on the special permit and there would be no legal harm done. So, I'm willing to certainly do that and contact council with that question.
I appreciate your offer, Mark, for doing that. I'm at a crossroads. I do. Similar to Julie, I'm not suspect of anything in what's going on. I'm actually comfortable with not going to legal counsel to ask that specific question. I'm open to being convinced one way or the other, within reason. Any comments? Yes, Mr. Diskin.
So as I said before, I feel that this item should have not raised to this level and this question be brought up now, but I guess I was thinking it in the back of my mind, and I did look at our rules and regulations, which Mr. Kranz read, and those rules and regulations, of course, are made by our board. So we do have the ability to waive the rules and regulations part. There's not a legal question there. The only question is the timing part that Miss Murray brought up. The rules and regulations are something we established on our own, and we have the ability to waive the concurrent, application as a board. Mm-hmm. So I'm comfortable with that. Mm-hmm. I just feel that I would like to see the applicant. Well, first of all, I want to say that I thought the application was fairly complete, and Mr. Ashenbo didn't really go over the completeness of it, but we said we received it. I thought the application was very complete, that they covered most of the topics that were needed to be addressed, and that we're in a position to go through that with them. And even if we don't vote on the the validity of the application, we've opened the meeting, we've started the discussion, and we're on our way to a conclusion, which could then given to us at the next meeting by town council. So we haven't stopped the process because we haven't got to a vote, but we'd at least be able to be open to having them complete their review of the application with us. Then we can move on to the continuation if we need to. But I'd like to have the applicant have the opportunity to finish their review at this meeting. Then we can generate our questions. I'm speaking for myself now, not for the board, obviously. Generate our questions. I already have some, but let's say the board generates their questions. We get the advice of town council before the next meeting. If town council concurs, we just keep moving on. That's my 2 cents worth. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, may I request
Yes.
a little clarification, please?
Mhm.
Ken, when you refer to application, do you mean the application for the special permit regarding the parking? Is that what you're referring
Yes.
to when you said, okay, I just wanted to
Because
clarify. You didn't refer to the application.
It's involved with this meeting.
Yes.
Just for the parking. We're not talking about the application for 3 to 5 Park Street itself, just the parking special permit application, right?
Correct. They're
Okay, good.
dated June 1st, 2020. Special permit application is the subject matter. And
Got it.
inclusive of that is the parking management plan. And the
Okay.
attachments and so forth. We've seen that, they were given to us through the email.
Thank you. With that being said, any other comments from the board regarding this topic, the special permit in front of us?
I appreciate Ken's points and I'm happy to move in that direction.
Thank you. Any other comments from the board?
Yeah, I was wondering, we have a drawing. I'm going to if I can hold to the camera, it's not.
I can share my screen and put that on the screen if you'd like, if you tell me what page that is.
Well, just very briefly, I just want to say we do have a drawing on lowercase Roman numeral 8 from the parking plan. And on that page, it does show the Worthingdale Realty parking. But what it doesn't show, and perhaps it's premature to show, is where the spaces would be. But I guess I got to start with a real basic question. Would 15 to 18 spaces work in that piece? Would it actually fit in there? It's designated this would be where they'd go, but can we feel confident that those spaces are available there, that they're truly there?
Yes, I'd like to address that directly. One of the reasons why it's deceiving is that the parking lot has not been lined in quite some time. Even with the reduction in our property in Depot Square, there's more than adequate parking. Also, as a plan that will become in front of the board, I am planning on, hopefully with your permission, building a 4-story, 5-story building that houses 32 apartments, as well as a parking deck that will hold probably 90 cars in order to meet all the requirements. But for today, I have more than enough spots. And if I have to move a building, that can be done. If I have to move trailers, it can be done. There are probably 80 some odd spots on my lot. And I have more than enough for my tenants, as well as to comply with the agreement that I've entered into with the gardeners.
Thank you, Mr. Berry. Mr. Diskin?
I guess we didn't concur that we should allow the applicant to make their presentation first before we go into questions about the application. I'd rather have them make a complete presentation. This is my own preference now. If you want to just jump around, everyone can jump around. But if they go from start to finish, then we can come back with our questions. That's my recommendation.
That's fair.
I'm happy to do that. Okay. Obviously, this is a charged topic, and I apologize for not keeping a tighter rein on the crew. Do you have an application for? Do you have a presentation for us, Mr.
Yes,
Gardner,
we do.
Tom? Why don't you go ahead and do that, please?
All right, I'm going to share my screen, and then Dad, you can start talking once I get that up.
Okay, thank you. All right, Tom's going to share his screen. While he's sharing his screen, I want to first of all apologize and say I'm not upset. I don't think, somebody else used the word shenanigans, and I don't think anybody's made an ad hominem attack against me or my son and whatever. And, I mean, I understand reasonable people will differ on issues, but I legitimately and honestly thought this made sense to come in with the parking aspect first. We can't afford to buy the land and just not be successful, and we can't afford to buy the land and go forward with a site plan approval in addition to and simultaneously with this if we don't get the parking. So that was the
Okay.
motivation behind it. But anyway,
Thank
let me go forward with the proposal. We're seeking modifications and waivers from the off-street parking requirements of 9.1.2A.2 of the air zoning bylaw under a special permit pursuant to the air zoning bylaw, sections 9.1.5, section 9.1.9B is in Bravo, and section 9.1.10 through implementation of a parking management plan. Our site is located on the 3-5 Park Street, Air, Mass, within the T6 transit-oriented lifestyle zone. Currently, the site contains an unused, vacant, single-story wood frame building, which I might add parenthetically has probably been vacant for years. And we intend to raise the existing structure and construct a mixed-use, mixed being residential and commercial, 4-story building thereon, which is permitted by the T6 zoning on that whole basis. The commercial use, the so-called mixed use, the commercial use would be on the first floor with a storefront on the Park Street side. Then there'd be 17 residential one-bedroom units on the top 3 floors and 2 one-bedrooms in the back side of the first floor. So that would add up to 17, 2 on first floor, and then 5, 5, and 5, second floor, third floor, and fourth floor. Now these we're going to design will be workforce housing units in downtown Ayer. We wish to provide a transit-oriented lifestyle to people who may not currently be able to afford it. We wish to provide the choice to our future tenants to park in parking spots if they desire. Quite frankly, a lot of people we're finding out, don't really, a lot of younger people don't really need parking, or I'm sorry, they don't even need vehicles. And we want them to be able to enjoy the savings of not owning a vehicle. We wish to utilize the space by eliminating on-site parking to provide more than the required bike storage. We're going to, the plan is to provide, although it's not required, bike storage units, spaces for all 17 tenants, and then also some shared amenities such as a fitness center in there too. Now the train station is less than 600 feet away. My son calculated that on Google Earth, and the travel, you have the shuttle bus stop, which stops right out at the intersection of West Street and Main Street, and you have the National River Rail Trail literally right at the back door, and that's what we intend to utilize. Now, I'm going to turn it over to my son Tom, who'll talk about more of the technical aspects of the current bylaws. But I will say, we'll try to answer any questions, even though this isn't a site plan approval. To make people, the members of the board, feel more comfortable, I think we'd be coming in literally with probably the same plan, only stamped by engineers and probably some water usage and things of that nature. That is above and beyond my expertise, certainly, but we'll try to answer any of those questions we can tonight. Tom, you want to continue?
All right, yeah. So as per the current bylaws, we're required to have 18 parking spaces for the 17 units. And so then you can see on the screen how we decided to break them down. We proposed breaking them down this way, but we also recognize that you could divide it in any way between these 3 sections, and any combination of those things that still fulfills 18 spaces would be possible. So first, as per section 9.1.9b, we'd like to have 2 of the parking spaces be accommodated with bike storage. 15 of the spaces would be shared parking spaces as per 9.15d, which would be in the Worthingdale lot. And then 1 parking space, we are asking that the visitor's parking space be potentially waived as per section 9.110. So I'm going to briefly summarize why on each point, but you guys got the big 30-page document about it, so I'm going to try to keep it quick and then head just to questions.
Tom,
Yes?
item 1, that's proposed to be on site, right?
Yes, so that's, I'm going to go into the next slide. So that's the next thing. So
Okay.
we got 105 this is our proposed first floor. It's the back end of it right now. Park Street is cut off down below and the rail trail is in the back over here. So room 105 is where we propose to put all of our bike storage. We strongly feel that indoor bike storage is a better option than the minimum requirement of the bylaws, which is a fraction of the units have some bike storage and it's outside and there's not as many requirements. But we'd like to really promote the transit-oriented lifestyle. So we're instead offering to have bike storage for every single unit and have it be indoors, security, safety reasons. And we're really trying to promote it because it's next to the rail trail. It seems like a good opportunity for someone that wants that kind of lifestyle.
Quick question to the chair, please. Just quick question for the chair
Yes.
on process. Should they proceed with a full presentation before we put up a question, or if our question is germane to a topic in discussion, should we leap in with our question, Mr. Chair?
I'm going to ask, in the interest of time, that we let the gardeners go through this. Quite honestly.
Fair enough.
I apologize. I've
Let's
not
go.
been paying attention to the clock, but I am now. So let's do it.
Okay, we can go quick. Sorry. Okay, point 2 is the shared parking. This is that assessor's map again. So we are up here, Worthingdale is down here in red. They are 105 and 344. We're 88 and 329. I'm going to cover sections 2 and 3 of 9.15D, and my dad's going to cover the legal one of the other one. So section 2 is that it's within 1,000 feet. Clearly within, not only within 1,000 feet, it's about 360 away. But it's also the pathway between the parking lot and our site is an accessible pathway. It has sidewalks and it has a flashing crosswalk signal. It's virtually the same pathway that the Mart parking garage uses to get to the train. So all the improvements and the safety improvements that they put in would doubly act for our pathway and reinforce the safety there. And then section 3, Mr. Berry sort of already addressed this. This discusses what the current uses are for the shared parking spaces. Currently, there's one existing residential shared agreement that is similar to what we're asking for, and the rest are for commercial uses like Carlin's and the package store and Main Street retail. So then, this is the lease agreement. I mean, we've already sort of talked about this, but maybe we can cover this again.
All right, thank you. So we propose that the agreement cover the 15 of the parking spaces and fulfills, in other words, we get to 15 by hopefully the planning board would give us a concession on 2 parking spots with the bike storage and then waive the visitors. But whether it's 15, whether it's 18, whatever it is, the agreement would cover for 25 years up to 18 parking spaces. And Mr. Berry understands, he and I negotiated this as recently as yesterday. And, you know, not just yesterday, we've been going back and forth over it. You know, it would be recorded and run with the land, so binding upon him and his heirs and assigns, binding upon me and Tom, and when I'm gone, Tom and his heirs and assigns and things of that nature. So it would be binding on everybody that would own either of those 2 parcels, 35 Park Street, which we hope to buy from Worthingdale, Mr. Berry, and then whoever owns the rest of Worthingdale property on the south side of Main Street. We submitted the signed copy of the amendment before the meeting today. Is now on file with the town. You know, we wanted to be upfront and show everybody. We agreed that if anything changes, we would have to refile an updated agreement with the planning board. And we purposely agreed to lease 18 spots to fully cover the number of required spots. I mean, you know, it sounds like we're, you know, giving one hand and taking away with the other, but we are asking the planning board for consideration. But Mr. Berry understands, and I think I can quote him precisely when he said, you know, up to 18, you know, obviously he's not going to charge if we have tenants that don't have cars and they're not leasing the spots. But, you know, if we have a plethora of different tenants over the course of the years, and maybe one tenant has 2 or 3 cars or whatever, then we maybe need the full 18 spots. So he's going to reserve those for the 25 years. And the other aspects of the special permit request are denied. We believe that this shared parking agreement through 9.1.5 D, Delta D, would fully cover our parking requirements. which, Part A would be the bikes, 2R for the bikes, and Part C would be for the waiver under 9.1.5D. All right, so that's hopefully that covers the issue about the lease with the parking spots. But I'm happy to answer any questions now and at the conclusion. And Tom, I think you're next.
Yeah, okay. So then lastly, we'll cover the waiver request for the visitor space. And I briefly touch on like each of the diagrams that are included in that document. So we believe that the evidence presented in this section supports our request for the space to be waived, but we also believe that even though they're not required to get a shared parking agreement, we believe that the reasons of site design, safety, aesthetics, and environmental also further support the shared parking as well as the waiver. So this is a map of the site. It's in it's the shaded area. And down to the bottom, you see the Main Street, Park Street, West Main Street, Mill Street intersection. Through the available traffic studies online, we figured out this is the biggest, I guess one of the worst intersections in Ayer, and this is our area of concern in terms of our biggest safety concern with adding something to the site. So currently, it's approximately 553 feet within T6 north from that intersection on the east side. So it's this whole measured out area. Within that distance, 423 feet of that is currently an open driveway. So it's cars coming in and out. There's no directions anywhere. They can go in, pull in and out wherever they want to. So out of all of that, Park Street is 60 feet of frontage. It's the largest section of complete frontage. And it's the biggest area that's been historically free of a driveway. So we just feel that adding anything into that is only going to take away from the minimal area that we can build to the actual character of the bylaw. So here's a picture again. Historically, in here is the driveway. It's now the Mart shared driveway. That's how they get their snow off the lot. This driveway we feel is unsafe because it intersects Park Street on an existing crosswalk. So we don't feel that that's a viable option. Adding a nut driveway in a new location when there's never been one is only going to add to making this what's already the worst intersection in Ayer even worse. So we feel that that should be considered. Gonna go now to, these are some images from the zoning, from the T6 zoning. These are supposed to be characteristic of a project type that we would be building. And I just wanted to point out that it's really clear, I believe, that the goal is to create Park Street as a similar to Main Street typology, and try to extend Main Street up around the corner into Park Street. So I'm just going to read a quote here. The downtown transit-oriented lifestyle district zone centered on the main town square is characterized by large-sized buildings that contain, frame, and accommodate the downtown Ayer commuter rail station. Busy street and sidewalk of Main Street with a private realm of high-quality shop fronts, forecourts, and outdoor cafes, gallery, arcade-style building frontages. The longer building widths form a more solid and well-framed street wall pattern with large proportioned street-level display windows, providing for more desirable walking and retail experiences. So we feel that it's impossible to build to the desired character of this neighborhood without making some sort of accommodations for the parking. As you can see in the pictures, like there's no parking in front of, there's no access driveways. If you want that character of Main Street, it has to be zoned in a way that allows that development to happen. So we have very limited frontage on Park Street compared to the other sites within the zone, even though supposedly it's the largest scale buildings and lots in downtown Ayer. We feel that that doesn't actually really apply to ours, even though we're in T6. And as per section 9.15B2, so if we had wanted to come in and build a driveway, there's clearly the town has tried to limit how much of a percentage the driveway would take up in a particular site. So if there's more than 40% of the frontage in a parcel that has less than 100 feet of frontage, we would have to come in and get a special permit just to put in the driveway that's required for us. So that would be 40%, and we're currently at 38% if we put in a single driveway that accesses a garage in the third layer of our lot. So we feel that that's within reason. I mean, it's written so that we don't come in at 40%. We feel that 38% is equally a problem. And then we also believe that this space, which is the 40%, would be better used as commercial storefront space. This is, lastly, the environmental. This is a diagram that I made that shows the impermeable surfaces in air. Mm-hmm. The red is impermeable and white is permeable. And as you can see, there is a lot of red on the diagram. So obviously in downtown areas, density is characteristic of a downtown, but it's what we are constructing and how we're using that density that I believe is important. And I feel strongly that buildings are an acceptable use of an impermeable surface, but parking lots are a worse use of it. So we'd like to build in accordance to the transit-oriented lifestyle, which would encourage multimodal transportation lifestyle amenities, which we believe would be promoting options like the rail trail, the MART shuttle, and the commuter rail.
Thank you.
And then we can open up to any questions that you guys would have.
Thank you. I'm going to step in right now as the chair. I've just reminded myself it's about 10 past 7. We've got much more to go on our agenda for this evening, and I don't want to really not give everything a chance. So I'm going to ask the board members if they have any questions. Tom, do you mind unsharing your screen, please?
Yep.
That way I can see people's faces. It makes it much easier. Thank you. Do we have any further comments or questions from members of the board, please?
Yes.
I do, and I do too.
Okay.
But the question is, should we defer these to next week or to the next meeting, or have these questions now, you know?
Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I'm cognizant of the time as well. We have 2 other cases, 14 Washington Street and Canongate. Mm-hmm. The possibility of Canongate being acted upon tonight, so just to consider that.
Yep, that I am considering it. Thank you, Mark. Jonathan, we're going to give it a quick minute and find out what Mr. Diskin has on his mind, and then we're going to make a decision on the direction we're going to take. Mr. Diskin, please.
Two, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Mr. King also. Thank you. Mr. Diskin.
Okay, just a couple of quick comments on the application. First of all, I think we do not have to consider the section that is involved with the bicycles because you're trying to do what's compliant with the bylaws. I don't think it requires a special permit for the bicycle portion of the work at all. And you're making a comment that you want to remove 2 parking spaces because you're putting the bicycle parking inside, but it doesn't refer to anything about that. It just says the maximum of 2 required vehicle spaces may be used for bicycle parking. In other words, if someone had a big parking lot, they basically say, well, you know, we're going to let you take part of that big parking lot and use it for your bicycle parking if you so desire. But apparently you don't have any parking requirement. You're not trying to get any parking on the site. So the bicycle portion to me doesn't apply at all. So we're just off the table as far as the discussion of the bicycle parking. You're not going to be taking away 2 parking spaces because you don't have 2 parking spaces on your site to take away and to manipulate or whatever. So as a result of that, I think you have to be careful to make sure you do allow for enough parking in the Worthingdale lot, to compensate for the fact somebody could easily have a car and a bicycle. So in this day and age, having both would not be inconsistent. So I don't think the bike part is open for discussion. The handicap requirement, there is some handicap requirement typically for all buildings in this day and age. I'm going to have to leave that up to the building commissioner. If and when you get to site plan, we'll look at that. But I'd keep that in mind as an architect. Look at the ADA requirements for any building that's put up as far as handicap parking is concerned. And of course, the crosswalk can be restriped, so I don't buy into your argument of the crosswalk's a problem because we can move the crosswalk anywhere we want. That's kind of a couple of quick things, but on the the parking lot that Mr. Berry's parking lot on the other side, I drove around that lot today and took a look at it, and it's clear that it's not striped as he mentioned. I was going to say that, but he has said that already. If we do accept this plan, it would be my opinion that we would need a lease exhibit to the agreement, which would show this lot striped. with the current parking spaces removed, for instance, every part of the east part of the parking lot now is completely reserved for your tenants currently, or for the customers. So that whole piece is off the table, as far as I'm concerned, the little pointed section going to the east. So it seems to me we need a clear exhibit that would show exactly where the spaces are, the current spaces that are reserved to other people, and the spaces that would be given to this project in perpetuity. The only question I have is for Mr. Gardner is are you telling us that you will comply with the requirement that says that the deed on the other property would allow for these parking spaces, that there would be a deed restriction? And it would
Well, it'd be-
comply? Are you asking for a waiver from the deed restriction?
Well, it'd be a
We're not asking for the deed restriction.
yeah,
Excuse
but it wouldn't be in Mr. Chairman, through the chair.
25-year lease or whatever.
The
Yeah,
25
it'd be a
years.
25-year lease.
Okay,
That's
but
not the in perpetuity is not a requirement for 915.
4B. Okay, so you are telling us, though, it would be recorded with the property deed. So it would comply with the 914B section, which is what you're asking for. The rest of the requirement says that written consent of property owners reviewed by town council, approved by the planning board, and recorded with the property deed.
So that is for the waiver. That's not for shared parking through.
Planning board will grant, that's a special permit requirement, yes.
Yeah, but then there's a separate section on specifically shared parking. That is,
Right.
we quoted it in the thing, and it's only. It's on page 72 of the air zoning bylaws. It's a
I got it under, it's the D section anyway.
the reciprocal agreement executed by all parties in order to ensure the long-term joint use of park.
Okay, so
Is,
you're asking us to waive some of the requirements of,
we're asking to waive the one visitor spot. And then the 15 would be through the shared parking, which does not require in perpetuity in the deed.
okay, forget the in perpetuity question. Just concentrate on the language in that 914B, I guess, which is what you're asking for, right?
Well, we're asking for both. Thing. We're asking for, that's why we have the three options, the two that would be through bikes, the 15 with Mr. Berry, and the one on to be waived. And we recognize that any combination of those three would work. So currently we're only asking for that one waived, which is through the 9.1.4. And the rest, the shared parking, is through the shared parking section, which is the section 5.
Okay,
But just so there's no misunderstanding, our agreement would be that there would be a 25-year lease.
Yep.
That would be recorded. So for the next 25 years, myself and Tom, or Tom after I'm gone, would be able to lease up to 18 units, up to 18 parking spaces from Worthingdale Realty Corp.
Okay, Mr. Diskin, have your questions been answered? I'm sorry, but I'm watching the clock very closely at this
we'll
point.
move on to the next meeting.
Thank you. Jonathan, did you have a question? Nathan had a question, excuse me.
Sure,
Nathan.
just real quick.
Thank you for your patience.
Yes, and I agree in principle with how Mr. Berry summarized the economic and aesthetic benefit. You know, the town did a lot of effort to pass the form-based code, so these are exactly the topics that we need to be discussing at these planning meetings, and so I appreciate everyone bringing them to the table. I'll just hit one point, which is the waiver for parking. I think my issue, that at least hasn't been covered, other people have covered some of the other ones, is the sentence that says on Roman numeral page 2, section 3, the space will be accommodated by the adjacent 180 space marked parking garage. I don't think that we can make an imposition on marked for that. I think that this should be more just ask for a flat out waiver of visitor parking if that's what you want. I don't think we can't compel marked to on how the garage will be used. So I would just strike that.
Say that we're not compelled to use the garage, but we wanted to just show that as an option, just for like logical where
Thank
they
you.
would probably park.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I also do want to thank the gardeners for this application just really goes through and references the zoning bylaw quite well. So I think that's one thing that's been missing in the past, and I do appreciate the effort that you guys have done to do that.
Well, I give 99.9% of that credit to my son.
Okay, Julie, did you have anything that you wanted to bring up? Jonathan, did you have one more thing? I think you're on mute, Jonathan.
Oh, I said my question can wait. If we defer this conversation and we continue it for the next meeting, my questions can wait.
Okay, I would accept a motion. A motion to continue this to the next meeting.
So moved.
Seconded?
Second.
It's moved and seconded. Any discussion? So we're going to continue the public hearing for the special permits for 3-5 Park Street until our next meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I want to thank the gardeners very much. Mr. Berry, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome to stick around for the next part of the meeting if you'd like, but I appreciate it. Next on our list, and I'm sorry, I'm going to move quickly, is the continued public hearing for a special permit for 14 Washington Street. Mark, can you catch us up on where this is?
Yes, and I also wanted, given the time and given that Canongate, the possibility exists for the board to act on that tonight, 14 Washington Street is a similar situation that involves both special permits, waivers, and a site plan for the renovation of the fire station into apartments. We did receive an updated site plan from Mr. Burchard. However, it came in, just this week. So given that, and given that the discussion of the special permits and waivers for the parking on that could take almost as long as what we just spent on 3-5 Park Street, I was going to see if Mr. Burchard was amenable to continuing the entire case for the next meeting, where we could take up, and we would also have more feedback on the technical aspect of the 14 Washington Street application. That way we'd be able to devote more time to Canongate, but I would like to.
Let me ask a quick question, if I may. The updated information, Kyle, has that gone off to the DPW yet?
You're on mute, Kyle.
There you go. Now unmute yourself, please.
Am I back?
Yay.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Thank you to the rest of the board as well for this consideration. I tend to agree with the idea of Mr. Archambault to continue this. I do have updates. They did go to the DPW and to the board last Thursday, but it's a very short time to get this pulled together, plus the update to the array of items to be waived and modified also needs to be refined so the technical aspects could be pulled together better, as well as the sister application that will modify the Pagemore parking lot. So I would agree with the motion in the interest of expediting the rest of the process. I would make one request, if I may, that I understand, and I don't think that this would harm anything, if Mr. Diskin hears this, that we have not received DPW comments on Air Solar 2B, which is at the end of the agenda. I understand that that is one thing that the board was waiting on, so that also probably we could just say now would be continued or requested to be continued. Would like to look towards a proper date to act upon that. And I will try to work with DPW to answer any questions that they might have.
Thank you, Kyle. So I'm guessing the answer is yes, it's okay with you if we continue this till the next meeting. And I will also ask Mr. Archambault to work with DPW also to get that moved forward as quickly as possible.
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, we'll take a team effort towards it, Kyle, okay?
Thank you very much.
And with that being said, I will modify the agenda so that the next item, which is continued site plan review for 14 Washington Street, will also be continued.
Yes.
He's shaking his head in the affirmative. Okay, so we're going to move to site plan review, Canongate on Sandy Pond Road.
Okay, so if I may.
Kyle, excuse me. Hold on. Hold on, Kyle, please. Yes, Mr. Diskin.
So I think we need a motion to continue. I think you must know that, Mr.
Yes,
Chairman.
yes, I'm getting there. Sorry. So we got a motion to continue, please, the public hearing for the special permit 14 Washington Street and the site plan review for 14 Washington Street.
So moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you very much. Any further discussion? Hearing none.
Yes, there is.
Go ahead, please, Ken.
Okay, so are we saying, Mark, that you actually received a site plan into the town hall or an email? Did you receive the real hard copies or electronic copies of the site plan?
For 14 Washington Street?
Those were the ones you talked about with Heather, Kyle, and you dropped off the original. Okay, so, but we haven't been sent those in our email yet, is what you're getting at. We haven't had a chance to look at them.
Why not?
Well, no, they were sent as an electronic file.
Okay,
They literally, the updated plan sheets came in yesterday, so,
okay,
and a little bit towards the end of last week, but
right. And we know we have
Thursday.
a procedure that says it's supposed to be 5 days before the meeting or something along those lines. You have time to look at it. But the long and short of it is that there is a set of drawings that basically talks about some of the things we discussed at the last meeting. That's all I'm trying to get at.
Yep, thank you.
Took in all of your comments and applied them, Mr. Diskin.
Excuse me?
Took in all of your comments and applied all of them to the plan.
Okay,
I'm surprised you haven't received them,
we'll
quite
look,
honestly,
we'll,
and disappointed.
okay.
So noted. Thank you. With that being
Also, the
said,
parking management plan that has been issued is dated May 12th. That should also be in everybody's packet.
But we want the DPW to respond anyway, so no matter what, we're in that position. Okay,
I'm in the interest of time, thank you. I appreciate your frustration. And I'm going to ask, moved and seconded, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Site plan review, Canongate, Sandy Pond Road. In the interest of time, we have a great deal has taken place, and I believe that the last couple documents we were waiting for were the soil samples, and what was the second one, Kyle?
The operations and maintenance plan that goes
The
with
O&M,
all
thank
the
you.
stormwater improvements.
And the stone. Okay, thank you very much. You also submitted a photometric plan, correct?
That's right.
Fantastic. Mark, any comments to open this?
Yes, I reviewed the photometric plan with a fellow planner who was satisfied that it meets the criteria of not having light spillover onto the abutting properties. I had a few minor questions about that, but they're very minor. As far as the O&M plan and the soil test pits, DPW is satisfied with those.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is fulfilled. We did get a revised plan sheet. So, in my opinion, the plan is actable this evening.
Okay. Do I have any comments from any of the board members?
Yes, I just have one question for Kyle.
Mhm.
Kyle, last meeting, we heard from abutters, I believe, Mr. Lewis and I think Mr. Valentine, perhaps. I'm not. Yes, definitely Brian. Could you tell us how your recent submission addresses Mr. Lewis's concerns about the light?
Be very happy to. I think if I may share my screen, Cindy. And thank you. And on the screen, I have the updated site plan, and it does show all the lights. This is not the photometric plan, but just the updated site plan. I just wanted to note that on the updated site plan, there's a note that was added to plant an arborvitae hedge along the back of Mr. Lewis's property line. In talking with Canongate, they were aware of there was some discussion of the barrier between the two properties, and they would request to plant the hedge. The placement of the hedge could be wherever it wants to be. It could be on the line. It could be on Mr. Lewis's property with his permission. But with the hedges is proposed to be planted there with the count at a typical 4 foot on center spacing. so that the full spread of the arborvitaes, doesn't kill off the end branches, but it creates a pretty thick screen and the plants stay healthy. There's about 49 plants that would go along that back property line. The gaps being wherever there's an existing tree, like there's a 22-inch pine that's back there. So the spread of that is intended to, recreate the barrier of, I guess, what was a former fence. And that was hopefully something that Mr. Lewis would find acceptable, and also serve both interests of creating more vegetation. So that, number one, but number two goes to the photometric plan, which is something that takes a little bit to load up here. So on this photometric plan, so there is a big difference between the light fixtures that had been initially proposed, and then when SK and Associates got involved, they really right-sized things. Just a few highlights before I try to zoom into the plan would be, as I think Mr. Lewis noted, the pole height or the fixture height would have ended up being about 16.5 feet. That would be a 18-inch pole base, 18-inch tall pole base with a 12-foot, 16-foot, 15-foot pole.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was modified, by SK and Associates to be a 2-foot pole base on a 10-foot pole. So it's a 12-foot total height, which is, 4.5 feet lower. Also, Mr. Lewis talked about the Kelvin color of the lights had been proposed previously as 4,000 Kelvin, which was a much more stark white, almost bluish light, but then these are now proposed as a 3,000 Kelvin light. Also, he talked about the lumens. The previous lumens was upwards of 6,000. These are less than 3,000 each. So we're taking lower light, spreading it around. It ends up being an installation of 21 poles across the driveway, all along the driveway, whereas there had previously only been about 5. I don't know what those previous pole lights were, but I'm pretty certain that they didn't have the house shield on them, which blocks the light from the fixture. If you kind of look at this underside of the fixture, would have then this shield underneath it, which completely cuts off any light that would blow, flow backwards from it or off to the sides, away from being downcast onto the areas below. So those are what amount to some fairly substantial changes, as well as the foot candle grid itself on the plan, clearly showing that at the property line and even a little inside the property line, it's registering as no foot candles. All the light is being cast, into the paved areas, all the way around the property, so that we're not casting any undue light from these new fixtures into the adjacent properties. So those are some fairly substantial changes to the plan, an update and a refinement, I think, that serves the questions that have been raised. That is the substantial change that's occurred since we last presented this to the board.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if, I don't want to belabor or prolong anything unnecessarily. Probably turn it over to questions.
Thank you very much, Kyle. Any questions from the board? Excuse me.
Comment.
Please.
I reviewed the drawings. I reviewed the photometrics cut sheet on the new lighting, and I feel that the applicant has made a substantial change and improvement, and I think they're in good shape.
Other comments from the board? Any comments from anybody else? Kyle, I'm gonna, if you don't mind, can you unshare your screen, please, Kyle? Thank you. That way I can see people's faces. Yes, Mr. Lewis, I think you had your hand up.
I did. First and foremost, Mark, thank you very much for contacting me today. unbelievable job. Kyle, very nice job. The descriptions of everything you described is to standards for Mass state laws and parking lot rules and regulations. The only question I had was if there were nine crossings between the outside of the parking lot before they paved into the interior parking lots, that they were going to set up new parking design. I know you probably hasn't crossed your desk yet, but I didn't know if there were any future plans for lighting those parking lots, and if it was still a clause that you could write a clause in there that they would still fall under this mandate.
I guess I don't know what the future holds. At this time, I don't know of any future plans to do any other changes to the property.
The original set of plans had, if you went back to the previous board, there were 9 penetrations through pipework going underneath the driveway, the main driveway that they widened, to provide more lighting to the property. And I was just curious if anything was presented to you. And after this is all said and done, if they decide to repave and not pull another permit, that's the reason why we're here today, they still have to stick by this standards. So I just want to make sure everything's written in so that way everything is uniform and stays the same.
If I may, Mr. Chair.
Yes, please do.
I think that the crossings of the pavement that had been proposed were intended to be to provide the wiring that needed to go out to the new light poles on the side of the driveway where they are. I think that any future adjustment to the lighting probably would require site plan approval. I don't know, I'd throw that to the town planner.
Yes, any substantial changes to the plan would require coming back.
Perfect. Okay.
Other comments from anybody?
I have one more.
Yes, please, Mr. Lewis.
I know it's kind of off the table, but it's still on the table. The building lights that are currently on the building, they had somebody came in, an electrician or whoever, came in and installed the lighting on the building, which was 5,000 K. There are no shields, and it is blinding. So not only additional parking lot lighting, but they have additional lighting on the premises that still has the same dilemma. Is there any way that we can put that in a clause for their permitting and address the shielding on those lights? I'm not asking to change the lights. I'm asking to put a shield on. It's very simple.
Mark, do you have any comments to that?
The chair, did you ask me or?
Yes, Mark, do you have any comments to that?
That certainly could be done.
So so Mr. Lewis, you've brought a piece of information up that is new to us.
And I'm very sorry about that. I did not mean
to. That's quite all right. That's quite all right. And my response to that is this: our bylaw is enforced by our building code, our building inspector at this point.
Yes.
I do believe this would be an issue that would have to go to the building department as an enforcement issue on an existing lamp or light, if you will. If those are not in compliance with our current zoning bylaw, that is a separate issue, and I don't believe it's an issue with the lighting on the driveway.
No, it's something different. I was just kind of adding it in.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think adding it in, I think they could argue very strongly that it's an add-in, and we'd probably lose that. We'd probably lose that discussion very quickly.
I agree with you, and I think that everything that you guys have already done is beyond what I've asked for. So
well, I appreciate that. I would ask you though to contact the building department.
Okay.
Okay. And and that people in Candygate, I'm sure, are hearing this also, and they may want to they may not be aware that they have done something, to be honest with you. But we do have lighting guidelines in our bylaw, And the person who is charged with enforcing the lighting guidelines is a building inspector at this point, I believe.
Okay,
Okay? And we don't have the information to make the decision at this point.
that's fine.
Great,
That's
thank
fine.
you very much. Other questions from the board? Other questions from people in the audience? Mr. Krantz?
No, Mr. Valentine, I cede to him, please. He looks like he has a question.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you, Mr. Valentine. I've got a grid in front of me that keeps changing. Go ahead.
So I just wanted to make sure that we were also going to address the catchment basin that we started the discussion on last week, where we sort of ended off.
Please refresh my memory. I thought that had been taken care of.
So, I mean, there were proposals and plans that were addressed. After the meeting, I sort of went out in my backyard and looked at that area. There's a substantial number of trees in that area. And not only is there a substantial number of trees that would have to be taken down to make the catchment basin, but there's, I mean, it also abuts the wetlands.
You're discussing the tree box.
No, I'm addressing, there's a catchment basin for new, that's
Kyle,
going
Kyle, do you have a plan of that, please?
I do, if I may share my screen again, Mr. Chairman.
And I'm sorry, we're running very short of time.
I'll make this very short, if I may. I don't want to shortcut but I need Cindy. Okay, thank you, Cindy. On your screen, hopefully you see this basin that's right here. There's a substantial number of larger trees that are outside the limits of the grading. That would be, I think, what Mr. Valentine is talking about. These are some substantially large trees.
Yes.
So the grading that happens is intended to be outside of the limits of those trees. So there are some smaller, maybe 2-3 inch caliper trees that are in the area where the basin would be dug down a couple feet. But I don't think those are what, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Valentine, I don't think you're talking about some of these, but some of the big ones that are on the hill.
It's, yeah, I mean, if they could be added in and represented on the plan, it would be a lot easier to understand. Because right now it sort of looks like, it's bare area back there, but there's actually a lot of lush vegetation that, I would want to make sure is not disturbed.
Kyle, can you please give me the approximate distance between what would be the southernmost edge of the catchment basin and Mr. Valentine's property line?
Just judging by the scale of the plans here, I'm going to say it's 30 feet.
I don't know if Curtis is on the line. Mr. Donahue is here, but he shared the same concerns with me after our last meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that in this area that's represented on the screen, I think that's where all those large trees are located. So I wouldn't see that any of those large trees would come down.
And you did, Kyle, you did go to conservation for this, correct?
The conservation hearing is not until the 9th of July.
Okay. Thank you. So, and the conservation hearing, are you looking for an NOI or an RDA?
RDA.
Thank you.
What is that acronym?
Please, I'm sorry?
For determination of applicability.
Could you please unshare the screen, please?
Yes, sorry.
We are heading towards the end of our allotted time, and I did get chastised fairly heavily for this. The process that they go to the Conservation Commission for is a request for determination of applicability, and that is a discussion. That is a point where they will discuss, I imagine, the trees that are there for the infiltration basin. Is that your expectation, Kyle?
That's a possibility, sir.
Okay. Thank you. But as the planning board, we are charged, Mr. Valentin, with the application of our bylaws. And our bylaws cover lighting and other things like that. So, any other comments from the board?
I guess I would make a comment that might be helpful. Could we request of GPR or the applicant that they mark off that basin in the field so that the neighborhood can see where that excavation is going to be occurring, and then ribbon the trees that are intended to be saved for the future. So it's a clear-cut explanation, and probably could be used by conservation as well.
Mr. Lewis?
Or really quickly, is there any way to redirect that pipe that drains into Mr. Valentine's property into this new culvert with the tree system?
No, sir.
No? Okay.
Thank you. Metaquandary.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Isn't it typical that a site plan like this would have a limit of work or extent of work?
I misunderstood you, Nathan.
Isn't there usually some kind of limit of work, limit of excavation in the
I
site
believe
plan?
it's marked out on the property.
Okay.
So, do I have a motion to accept the,
I make a mo-
go ahead, the site plan review? And there
Yep.
are, at this point, Mark, we have everything that was requested, correct?
Yes, I originally had 2 conditions, which were for the outstanding items of the management plan and the test pits. But given that he has submitted those, I do not have any new conditions of approval.
Okay.
Though if the board is amenable, I thought Mr. Diskin had some good points about delineating the area of standing trees. That could be a potential condition. But otherwise, I think it's a pretty simple thing. It's upgrading the parking lot basically with lighting and the new parking space arrangement. So in my opinion, the plan itself is sort of its own condition they need to follow. But
I have another condition.
Would you like to make a motion, Mr. Diskin?
Well, I'll talk about the condition that I want to put on as well before I make a motion.
Mm-hmm.
Another condition that I would require is that the final completion of the work be supervised by the design team, the engineering team, and that a final letter be submitted, stamped by the engineer, that all the work was completed in compliance with the drawings and specifications required on the plan. Therefore, we know at the end of the deal, and the neighbors will know at the end of the deal, that the work was in fact completed in accordance with the drawings that we approved.
Thank you.
It carries a professional stamp at the end.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any discussion on that topic? Hearing none, would you like to make a motion, Mr. Diskin?
I'll let Jonathan make it.
Please, Mr. Krantz?
I move that we accept the site plan as proposed for the appropriate changes for storm, roads, driveway lights as discussed, with the condition that Mr. Diskin just requested for the oversight of the engineers and a stamped letter confirming that the work is done.
Does that cover it, Ken?
I think he said we accept. I think the word should have been approved.
Approved, yes.
We approve the plan for Cannon Gate with the condition that Mr. Diskin previously established.
I have a second, please.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Julie, you're silent. You're on mute.
Aye.
Thank you. Any opposed?
The other people that are making noise, please.
I know. Thank you.
Agree with us.
I think that closes. I need a motion to close the site plan review for Canongate. Or no, it's accepted. It's done.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry to have been
you.
so hasty. Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Thank you, Mr. Valentine. I would pay attention to the Conservation Commission's meeting. Please. We are out of time. Ayer Solar 2B site plan amendment. I'm going to have to push. I'm sorry to say. Administrative announcements, old and new business. I'm sorry, town planner update. Mark, you don't get to talk tonight.
Oh, nothing new except I have started researching the tiny homes and
Thank you. Administrative announcements, old and new business. I was hoping that we were going to do an election this evening. We will have, put that on the agenda for the next meeting, please. And approve meeting minutes, June 9th, 2020. Has everybody had a chance to take a look at the corrections that were sent out by Mr. Krantz?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
just one remaining edit that I caught on page 4, the paragraph at the bottom of the page. Just correct the spelling of pervious, Pervious,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Yeah, Jonathan, I caught that, and I did end up changing the adjourn because we didn't actually adjourn, so I just put the time on there. So those two changes
you.
have been made.
Thank you.
I would also say at the bottom of page 2, I don't think Mr. Bouchard made the statements that they're unable to change the unit count. I think that was a board member or Mark.
Nathan, can you read the whole sentence?
It says, Mr. Nathan King asked about 2-bedroom unit, et cetera, et cetera. Mr. Bouchard stated that due to the grant, they are unable to change the unit counts. I don't.
No, that was
It was.
Kyle.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? I'll accept the motion to accept them. Sorry, Ken?
Check the spelling of Kyle Burchard's name.
Okay, I'll double check it. Be sure it's right.
Thank you. I will accept a motion to accept the minutes from June 9th.
I make a motion to accept the minutes for June 9th, 2020 for the Air Planning Board meeting with the corrections as discussed.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Moved in second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Take a motion to adjourn, please. And I do thank Cindy for sticking
So
around
moved.
late.
Yeah,
Thanks, Cindy. Sorry.
Bye.
Good evening.
We're adjourned. Goodbye, all.